All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to crack the code on how we all learn a second language. We're going to unlock the secrets of second language acquisition, and we'll be focusing specifically on the English learning journey for students right here in Pakistan.
Okay, so let's kick things off with a question that I'm pretty sure has crossed your mind a bunch of times. You spend all this time in class learning grammar rules, but then when you watch a movie and the English they're speaking sounds totally different. What's up with that?
How about this one? I am giving my exam. It sounds super familiar, right? I mean, it's a perfect word-for-word translation from Urdu. And look, we all get what it means, but a native English speaker? They'd probably say, I am taking my exam. That tiny little difference? Well, it perfectly illustrates the fascinating journey we're about to go on.
So, to really get a handle on this journey, from our first language to a second one, you kind of need a map. And that map has a proper scientific name: Second Language Acquisition, or, SLA for short. It's basically the science behind the how and why of learning a new language, all the successes, and yeah, all the struggles too.
Okay, let's get right into it. So SLA is the official term for how we learn any language after our mother tongue, which we call our L1. So whether your L1 is Urdu, Pashto, Punjabi, whatever, when you're learning English, you're in the process of acquiring your L2. Simple as that.
Now this slide here is huge, because this gets to the absolute core of SLA theory, the massive difference between acquiring a language and learning a language. See, acquiring is subconscious. It's natural. It's how a little kid just picks up Urdu by being around it. No textbooks needed. Learning, on the other hand, is the conscious stuff. That's the classroom, the grammar rules, the vocabulary lists. Getting this difference is the key to pretty much everything else.
All right, now that we've got that basic idea down, let's start decoding the big theories. And listen, if you want to ace your university exams on this topic, you have to know these major ideas. They're all different explanations for how our brains actually manage to process a brand new language.
You can think of these as different ways of explaining the same magic trick. For Skinner, it was all about habit, just repetition, like building a muscle. For Chomsky, it was practically built in. He argued we're born with a special language device in our brains. Piaget saw it as part of our overall mental development, and Vygotsky believed it's all social. We learned from other people. But the one name you absolutely have to remember for your exams is Stephen Krashen. He combined a bunch of ideas into one really powerful model.
So Krashen's model is a total game changer. And trust me, it's a must-know. He starts with that acquisition learning idea we just talked about. Then he says we have an internal monitor to check our grammar. He also argues we learn rules in a predictable order. And his famous input hypothesis suggests the best way to improve is by getting input that's just one step beyond our current level, what he calls I+1. But his final point is maybe the most powerful one of all.
And here it is, the affective filter. This is so important. Krashen's theory is that negative emotions like anxiety, stress, or even just a lack of confidence create a kind of mental wall. This filter can literally block language from being processed, no matter how good the teacher is. So that nervous feeling you get in class, it's not just a feeling, it's a real barrier to learning.
Okay, let's switch gears and talk about something we all do: make mistakes. It's a totally natural part of the process. But in the world of SLA, mistakes aren't just mistakes. They're actually clues, and they tell a really fascinating story about our progress.
And this brings us to this awesome concept called Interlanguage. It's your own personal developing version of English, a unique system with its own rules, mixing bits of your first language with the English you're learning. That sentence, "she go to school yesterday," isn't just wrong, it's a logical step in your interlanguage. It shows you know the words, but haven't quite mastered that past tense rule yet. It's a sign of progress.
And this right here illustrates a critical difference you'll need for your exams, the difference between an error and a mistake. An error is systematic. It happens because you don't know the rule yet. A mistake is just a slip-up. You actually know the rule, but you were tired or talking too fast, and you can correct yourself. Knowing this can totally change how you look at your own learning.
Here are some classic examples of interlingual errors, where our L1, Urdu, directly influences our English. We might say boy tall, because that's the word order in Urdu. We use on you for angry, because we use par in Urdu. And since Urdu doesn't really have articles like or the, we often just forget them. Seeing this isn't about finding faults. It's about understanding the learning process.
So with everything we now know about SLA, how does the way we're actually taught affect our learning?
Let's compare the two big teaching methods you've likely experienced in school. Think of it as old school versus new school.
On one side, we have the grammar translation method, GTM. This is probably familiar. Memorizing rules, translating from Urdu to English. The teacher is the authority. On the other side is communicative language teaching, or CLT. Here, the focus is on real communication. And think back to Krashen. CLT tries to lower that affective filter and provide meaningful input by making the student an active participant. It's a whole different ballgame.
So what's the end goal of all this? It's not just about memorizing theories for an exam. It's about achieving something much bigger, something experts call communicative competence.
This is the real prize. It's more than just perfect grammar. It's the ability to use English effectively and appropriately in real life. It's knowing how to be polite, how to be persuasive, how to tell a joke. It's about successfully navigating social situations using the language.
And here's the good news. You can bring this powerful CLT approach into any classroom. Encourage group work to maximize that all-important talking time. Use real-world materials, a newspaper clipping, song lyrics, anything. Remember, the goal is successful communication, not flawless grammar. Create information gap activities where students have to talk to each other to solve a puzzle. This way, every error becomes a learning opportunity, not a failure.
All right, before we finish, let's do a super quick revision of the key terms for your exams. We started with SLA, the science of it all. We talked about your L1 and L2 and that personal inner language bridge between them. We covered Krashen's crucial ideas of input and that emotional affective filter. And we finished with the ultimate goal, communicative competence.
And that's our deep dive into second language acquisition. I want to leave you with this thought. Understanding the science behind language learning gives you power. The power to be patient with yourself, the power to understand your errors as progress, and the power to change your study habits to become a more effective and confident user of English. Thanks for joining me.